What is going on, traders? We got a hell of a video for you, but before we start, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So, my last video, I told you guys I do not think a top is in yet. Everybody on YouTube, or at least a lot of people on YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, they're all calling for a top at 500 on the triple Qs, and look where we are. We are at 502, 503 on the triple Qs. So, the next question is, can we head higher? I personally think we can. I think we can head much higher on the triple Qs. But before we get deeper into that, it is important to note that tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern we have CPI data, unemployment claims as well, and then around 1 p.m. Eastern we have 30-year bond auctions. So something to pay attention to. Keep in mind if you're the type of trader to avoid trading through news or whatever the case may be. Now, looking at the triple Qs, I think we can head as high as 510 on the triple Qs. You guys see it here. We've been trading in this channel for quite some time on the triple Qs. Let's actually go to the daily time frame right here. So you guys got a better view. We rejected here, bounced here, we bounced in this area here, and it looks like we're heading back up to the top of this channel on the triple Qs, which is around 510. So I think we can continue to head higher as far as the tech sector. I told you guys multiple times, big tech earnings, I believe we're going to continue to run into. Now, I'm not saying exactly on the week of big tech earnings we're going to sell off. I'm sure there's a dip that's going to come maybe tomorrow, maybe sometime next week where we get some type of dip in the market. But overall, I do think we're going to continue to run into big tech earnings. Now, 510 is my target on the triple Qs. But what about the SPY? Now, I said this in the Discord that there's mixed signals happening right here. And right now, we are at the top of this channel. You guys see, I didn't make this up. Let's actually zoom out. This is a very, very big channel. So, yeah, let me zoom out here. Okay, so rejection here. We rejected all in this area. I'm sure you guys are tired of seeing this. Rejected here. We bounced here. We bounced here. We bounced here. And now we're back at the top of this channel. But why didn't we reject? Right? 560, we probably should have rejected, right? Based on historical data or, the history of this channel, we always rejected this. Well, it all goes down to what we're looking at on the ES. And I told you guys on the ES that we have more room to the upside on the ES. We can head as high as 5750 on the ES. So we still have more room within this channel on the ES right here. I mean, we rejected here, we bounced here, we bounced here, we bounced in this area here, we bounced here. So everything needs to line up. So I wouldn't fully depend on the SPY and the triple Qs to give you your information. If anything, the futures is going to give you your information. NQ, same thing. Same thing with the NQ. Let's actually go to the 4-hour time frame here. Same thing with the NQ. Look what happened here. So we have our 4-hour supply and demand zone here. We're back in this channel. I told you guys about what happens when we roll back into channels. We still have plenty of more room to at least 20K, 20,500 on NQ. So the SPY is at the top of his channel, but everything else is not. The futures is not, NQ isn't. ES, we look at ES. ES is not at the top of his channel yet. We look at triple Qs. It's not at the top of his channel yet. So we still have more room to the upside. Now, does that mean we're not going to see a dip? Of course not. That doesn't mean that at all. We could see a dip. We could see some type of overreaction in the morning. Maybe CPI data comes in bad or slightly bad, but I don't think it's going to be bad enough to cause something insanely crazy like this. Like we just give up 499, 498, and we just break completely down. All right. If anything, I would say we retest 499, 500 range before we head higher if we just so happen to get bad news tomorrow or whatever the case may be. We have ran up a lot today, and historically, anytime we rally to the upside one day, typically the next day is like a cool off day. Now, whether that cool off is a dip or consolidation is up in the air. But I'm willing to bet if we do get a cool off heading into tomorrow and CPI does come in, I don't know, slightly bad or whatever the case may be, that we could look at a dip. All right, a slight dip, maybe retest 500, 499 range before we head higher. Still, price target is 510 on the triple Qs. I see no reason why we can't head higher from here, at least for the long term. I wouldn't say the long term, but somewhat short term here. I don't see a reason why we can't head higher. Sure, we can get a dip, but overall, still bullish on the overall market. But like I said, I told you guys in the last video, 20,800. We break above 20,800. 21,000 is officially on the table for NQ. And as you guys can see, we broke above this structure here. Let's actually mark it out right here. So again, if we do get a dip tomorrow, maybe we retest around 20,750 right here. Okay, and then we head higher. All right, so that's what I'm looking at as far as the NQ. Again, we are at the top of the channel for SPY, and we're currently breaking above it. But as far as everything else, NQ, ES, everything still has more room. Triple Qs, we still have more room to the upside. So if anything, I wouldn't pay attention to the SPY. I would pay attention to the futures. Mark everything out on your futures. Mark these channels out on your futures because I'm sure nobody has these channels marked out. At least a lot of people don't. I haven't seen one person yet, one trader yet have these channels marked out. And that's why they can't really tell when a top is coming in. They just go by psych levels. They're like, oh, 500 is the top for the triple Qs. Well, we're above that. Why is that? Because you don't have the right patterns marked on your charts, right? So this channel here, you gotta get to the top. Once we get to the top of this channel, that's when I think we could get a possible top. As at least short term. Okay, short term we can get a possible top on the ES and NQ. Once they hit the top of their channels, that's when I think we could start seeing some downside or some real downside, I should say. All right, that doesn't mean we're not going to see downside prior to then. The real drop can come once we hit the top of these channels. All right, that's really all I have as far as the futures, Qs, and SPY. Now let's get into some stocks real quick. So Baba, Baba, it it closed above 76 and it mounted 76. This is absolutely great. This is great news. This is awesome news. It mounted. You guys see it here. 4 hour supply and demand zone. Didn't make it up. We rejected here, and then we finally broke through. We broke back down, and bears got trapped here, and then we broke back above. We're currently mounting on top of this supply and demand zone, and I think we're going to continue to head higher from here. My price target for Baba is still $90, but if you want to be conservative, you can look at the top of this channel right here and take profit at around 78, between $78 and $80. We are still in our play for $80 calls, July 19th in the Discord. Absolutely beautiful play. We're in deep profit. We got in at around 73. Baba looks absolutely amazing. In phase. In phase. Looks beautiful. Looks absolutely beautiful. I called it play by play in the Discord. I mean, this was absolutely beautiful. Okay, we're in 130 calls for August 16th in the Discord. Still holding those. I did give the option to close prior to CPI. I'm up like $200 on this play, probably a little less since it's kind of going lower after hours or whatever the case may be. But regardless, we're in profit on end phase. We got in at around 103. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on that entry, but 103, between 103 and 104, and it's been a killer ever since. All right, so looking great on end phase. You got your head and shoulders or inverse head and shoulders here, shoulder here, head here, shoulder here, and I think it could continue to go higher, much higher. If we get into this area right here, if we get into this liquid area right here between 112, 113, we're going parabolic. We're going nuclear on this thing. It's going to head to 120 at that point. All right. Very illiquid area. So that's what we're counting on here for end phase. Now, whether news causes that, like personal news for end phase or market news causes that, I don't know, but something to pay attention to. In phase looks amazing. It looks great. I think it's going to take off. Now, the next question is, well, what happens if the market tops off? Well, we've seen in phase do the exact opposite of the market, and that's something to pay attention to. When the market is going up or currently has been going up, in phase has been dropping the whole time. So I think it's pretty safe to stay in this play. It has the possibility of going inverted of the market. So I think that's on the table. I still think in phase is going to go nuclear. My price target still remains the same, around 140 to 150 on in phase. That's all I have for in phase. Dell. Dell looks great as well, guys. Um, we are in 165 calls for Dell in August 16th, I believe. Absolutely beautiful play. Currently in profit. We got in at around 140 something, one low 140s. Okay, we got in around there. It's been running up ever since. Sure, we got a retest at around 144. Yeah, 144. We retested, and we currently are bouncing from that target. I think Dell can easily see above 150 this week, maybe even higher than that. Right now, Dell looks absolutely beautiful. 150. If it breaks above 150, pack your bags. We are going to the moon. All right, simple as that. Next stock, Nvidia. So Nvidia is doing this weird candle thing right here. Look at this. This doesn't make me comfortable. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This doesn't make me comfortable because they're getting smaller and smaller, and they're heading closer to the supply and demand zone. I told you guys, 135 is my first target. It can head as high as 140. Can it go higher than that? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm not liking how these look. So we could see a dip on Nvidia sometime this week. It is on the table. I just wish these candles look stronger and better. This just looks weird. Okay, it just looks weird. It looks like bulls are just pushing off thin air at this point. It looks like this is just going up off air at this point. I mean, it just looks crazy. All right. So be careful with Nvidia between 135 and 140. 140 could be the short term top for this thing. So be very, very cautious. Tesla. I told you guys Tesla is nearest its topping process, at least short term. Now, I still think Tesla could see $300. When that happens, really tough to say. Maybe by next week, maybe prior to its earnings, but I do think Tesla can see $300. It's just a matter of when. You guys see it here. We hit the top of this trend right here, rejected here, and now we're back at this trend at around 267. It tried to break higher, but it failed. I mean, even here, these guys are pretty much holding it down. All right, I told you guys about this in prior videos. Yeah, once we got here, it looks like we're trying to reject on Tesla. If Tesla just so happens to give up 260, it can head as low as 250, 252 range. All right, which would be honestly a good entry point, but do what you want with that info. We'll see what happens once we get there. All right. But Tesla looks absolutely amazing. Okay. It looks amazing overall. It looks like it can see 300. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Okay. You just got to give it time. You got to wait for that dip opportunity. I wouldn't chase this at this point. It's just not safe to chase at this entry right here. I would definitely wait for some type of dip. All right. 250 will be a good entry in my opinion. We'll talk about that in the future if that does just so happens to present itself. Next stock was, I was just looking at it, Meta. Uh, Meta looks Meta looks good. All right, it took its time. It got a price upgrade to $600 today, so that's good news. So yeah, I think I mean not Tesla, Meta can head to 570. Now, when that happens, it's really tough to say, but I see no reason why Meta can break down. Meta has a habit of doing inverse of the market as well, so that's good as well. But yeah, that's really all I have for Meta. 570 is the target. If you want to play it safe, 550 is the short-term target. Next stop, Amazon. I'm done with Amazon. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm just over it. We ran all the way from 170. I was talking about this thing in 170. We got into 200 call contracts at 170, like 174, which was that monthly level, and we've ran up ever since. So I'm happy with Amazon. I'm just tired of it. It's a premium eater. I'm done with Amazon. I took my profit. I ran. We took a loss today on this play in the Discord. We did 205 calls for this week. Maybe CPI data pushes it higher. Am I willing to risk that? Absolutely not. It's just not worth it, in my opinion, unless you're doing dated contracts. But for now, I'm no longer interested in Amazon. I'm sorry. And that's really all I have for this video. Still overall bullish on the market. 510 is my target. Pay attention to what happens on these channels on the futures. Do not pay it. Don't tunnel vision on triple Qs and SPY. Really pay attention to what NQ and ES are doing. I think those will tell you when a top is near. Other than that, that's all I have, guys. Until the next video, traders, have a good one.